Good afternoon, everybody. Happy early Thanksgiving. It's the freelance teacher, Doug Marola, and I'm coming at you from my office, as I always do. Wonderful acoustics just for you guys, as always. Wouldn't want any less for the crowd, for my legions of fans. That's just part of the way I do things. Always try to put on a good show and be educational. In an independent setting. No boss here, no assistant principal, no guidance counselor, just the two of us trying to learn something. That method works best, and it actually brings me to the topic that I want to talk to you guys about today, which is multi-layered, two main layers really to what I'm talking to you about today. And one of them is kind of a feel-good type pep talk to some degree, and that is that you should have confidence in your academic journey, and you should have confidence in understanding that the things that you're learning and the path that you're going down, even though it may not be an establishment path, it may not be a politically correct path, is valuable, and you're unique in your journey. And what I mean by that is I'm listening to a really good podcast by Tom Woods. Tom Woods is one of my regular podcasts, one of the regular podcasts I listen to, and he's talking to a guy who helps run the Sudbury Valley School up in Woodstock, New York, in the Hudson Valley, and a student in that school. And the interesting part of it is apparently Tom Woods hadn't known about the Sudbury Valley School before. And, you know, Woods is I have a funny feeling he's getting quite wealthy from the way he talks and the stuff that he is doing in terms of internet e-commerce. And he's got an incredibly successful podcast and writes books. I mean, this guy's a libertarian, economic and historical heavyweight in the modern day, for sure. And I'd put him up in a debate against anyone in the historical or economic arena. So the weird part is, little old me, 20-year veteran, broken down English teacher, been in the bad neighborhood since September of 1997. I've been showing students the Sudbury Valley School model for probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, easily. I actually had an exchange with a former student on Facebook where she was pointing out the ridiculous nature of the math that grade school children were being taught, and was just lamenting that and a few other things that she had been shown that were going on in regular schools in terms of instruction, educational rigor, the techniques to solve math problems. The Common Core math in New York is laughable at the grade school level. Laughably bad, I should say. So anyway, I was explaining to her. I said, "Yeah, you're seeing something that is pretty serious. The instruction and the Common Core stuff is really terrible. So you're probably going to want to homeschool your kids." And she said, "Well, I don't have homeschool money. I can't do that. I don't have the cash to do it." And I said, things are cheaper now, and there are programs out there, and people work together. They voluntarily form unions and classes, and homeschooling is much easier and infinitely less expensive, borderline free nowadays. And this young lady, I had shown her class. She was class of 2016. I'd shown her class when they were freshmen, so we were looking at 2012. I'd shown them the Sudbury Valley model, and I had shown them the original Sudbury Valley School, the one up in Framingham, Massachusetts. They have a website and they have videos of what's going on in that place. So, it's you hear someone, you hear a star, a big shot, an established voice talk about something in a new way that you had been studying or learning or reading about before. And it gives you, right, I'm happy that I was actually ahead of somebody who I admire in my knowledge of schooling. Now, you'd think, yeah, that's natural, right? I've taught high school English for 20 years now. So, but, you know, I think we as people naturally think that the people who are big shot politicians, big shot stars, you know, big web presence types, gazillion views on YouTube, that they, especially if they're in your area of expertise, that they know of these things already. And it really reinforces the fact that no, they don't. And not only that, but that you have some kind of knowledge that they don't have. And what happens is we get into this habit of, as teachers and as regular people and entrepreneurs and students, we're always thinking, well, that's been done already. And all the people at the top know this. And that's just flat out untrue. You need to have a sense of uniqueness, a sense of self-worth, a sense of what you're doing and the things that you're learning, and these ideas that are out there, not the establishment ideas. The court historians and the establishment and the corporate media, they don't have any ideas. They just go with the crowd. They just go with the herd. Having unorthodox ideas is not only more fun, in my opinion, but also it's that risk that you go through makes it worthwhile. And you should not be thinking that, oh, you know, this is old news, or because so-and-so is a leader in the field that they know this material as well. No. You have to stay with what you're looking at, however weird it may be. And I mean that with the Sudbury Valley School model. I mean, think about this. It's a building, and this is the Sudbury School in Massachusetts and the one in the Hudson Valley. And they don't have a set schedule. They don't have organized classes. And the discussion in the Tom Woods podcast is on how do you do that? Like, what do you, Woods talked about it with his private Facebook group, and they were just bickering at each other. Like, what do you mean you guys do what you want to do all day? Not only isn't that then you're just wasting time, and does the knowledge and the expertise of the rich history of the past, you ignore that? How do you get your hands on that? What if you want to learn a subject that none of the 7 or 9 members in the building know about? What you mean, you go to the playground all day? Because part of the video is kids playing in a playground. I don't know about the Hudson Valley School one, but the Massachusetts video shows the little kids playing basketball a lot. So you're going to pay money and go to this kind of unschool, this non-school, this structureless school, and do what you want and play games? Why are you paying money for that? The whole thing sounds ridiculous. Or you could think the other way. And the idea would be that you as a person need to build up a way to communicate with others and have a sense of self-worth and have a sense of inner self-directedness, where you, because young people generally do want to learn, will then find a way to learn the things that you want to learn. And in doing that, math skills and literacy skills will be increased. So the Sudbury thing itself is an abnormal, unorthodox way of thinking. And, and I had known about it before Tom Woods. So I'm happy about that. And it just, and I don't mean to sound kind of strange on this, like, oh, look how happy I am. I'm ahead of the game with somebody who's a bigger fish in the sea. No, not that at all. It reinforces the message that I've been teaching you guys all this time, that you should not be thinking that, well, it's been done before. And because so-and-so wrote a book, or this person is very wealthy, or is a leader in the field, that I shouldn't be talking about these topics on my podcast, or I shouldn't be writing about them in school, or I shouldn't be putting them on my YouTube channel. No, you should, because you'd be surprised what the big shots don't know. It's like what Carrie Mullis said on his TED Talk many years ago. I wrote about this years and years ago, and he said, you figure out that there are no superstar big shots up above guiding us You've got to do it. You've got to go through and continue your journey on learning how to do things and figuring things out the hard way. So that's really the first part of this. And the Sudbury Valley school model is a good lens to use to talk about what I'm explaining to you today, because if you were to say that you wanted to go to a Sudbury Valley school, or you looked at the Sudbury Valley model, people would say that's ridiculous. You can't, that's not a school. That they're not going to school. They're just going into that building and then doing what they want all day. And they're not going to be learning anything. They're going to be wasting their time and wasting people's money. And the weird part is, the establishment just takes a look at a place like Sudbury and rips it apart. Says it's stupid. You can't learn that way. You don't get anything out of it, and you come out worse or dumber, and you just being able to do what you want and not having any structure. That's not the way to go. And some of the more wily and crafty establishment types say, well, yeah, that may work for some people, but it's not going to work for everybody. And I want you to think this way from now on when you hear stuff like that about some of the things that you are learning that are not orthodox, that are politically incorrect. And that's your time to turn around and say, yeah, but going into a building for 7 hours a day and going to pre-assigned classes for 45 minutes at a time with teachers that you did not choose, that's not for everybody either. Now, if the person is honorable, you'll have a discussion. Say, well, okay, well, maybe people should have school choice. Well, school choice sends people into chaos, right? An establishment person hears school choice, and they have been trained in a Pavlovian way, the way you would train a gerbil or a dog or a pet. School choice, people start screaming and running for the hills. School choice. And they go bananas. But you just brought up school choice in a very mild, calm, logical way. Right? Yeah, maybe Sudbury Valley isn't for everybody, but neither is the way that we're told is for everybody. 7 hours in a depressing building in various boxes, learning subjects that were given to you by teachers you didn't pick. I'm sorry, that's just not for everybody. It just isn't. It worked for me. I was good at school. But that's not going to be good for everybody. Come to where I am and watch. I'll show you, and I'm not talking about the poorly behaved kids. I'll show you scholarly types where they cannot wait to leave and be set free. They feel like they're in a cage and they want out, and it's not good for them. So the Sudbury Valley thing and your own unorthodox path is worth it. And it's not a case where you should think, oh, everyone's done it. Who cares? I'm gonna now stop being my own person and going down my own road. No, you have to keep going, and you can rest assured that there are plenty of things that you know, that you've analyzed and studied, and you should talk about them and you should write about them, because even those people at the proverbial top either don't know or would appreciate hearing your take on the topic that you think everybody has heard of already. That's the lesson for today. Have a great holiday, people. Have a great Thanksgiving. And enjoy yourselves. Take some time off. Read something you like. Have a good day. Take care.